The copper scent of old blood and disinfectant is the perfume of my life. It clings to my clothes, my hair, my very skin, a constant reminder of my station. Here, in the heart of the Blackwood Pack, I am Alara, the wolfless Omega, a phantom haunting the edges of a world I can never truly join. My days are a rhythm of scrubbing floors until my knuckles are raw and serving feasts I will never taste. My nights are spent on a thin cot in the servant's wing, the boisterous joy of the pack, a distant echo through the stone walls. My wolf, the inner beast that should be my other half, is silent, a void where a fire should be. The pack healers say she was never there, a defect of birth that marks me as incomplete. Less. Every week, on the day I receive my meager handful of coins, I perform a small ritual of rebellion. I slip out the kitchen's back gate and walk to the edge of the market square. There, huddled against the cold stone of the Weaver's Guild, an old woman sits. Her face is a roadmap of wrinkles, her eyes a cloudy, faded blue, but they hold a sharpness that misses nothing. She never begs, simply sits with a quiet, unshakable dignity that seems out of place with her threadbare shawl and patched tunic. The other vendors ignore her. The pack warriors stride past without a glance. But I see her. I see the tremor in her thin hands and the hunger hollowed out beneath her cheekbones. So every week, I stop. I press my few coins into her palm. It is not much, barely enough for a loaf of bread and a wedge of cheese, but it is nearly all I have. She never speaks a word of thanks. She simply looks at me, and for a fleeting moment, the fog in her eyes clears, replaced by an intensity that feels like being weighed and measured. A faint, clean scent clings to her, like crushed lavender and old parchment, a stark contrast to the market's chaos of sweat and roasting meat. Her gnarled fingers brush against mine, and a strange, fleeting warmth, like a spark from a dying fire, dances across my skin. Then it's gone. I walk away, the familiar ache of loneliness in my chest feeling just a little less heavy. It is a small connection in a life of isolation, a secret act of worth in a world that tells me I have none. Tonight, the pack is alive with a frenetic energy. The Moon Festival, a celebration of our bond with the Celestial Mother, is upon us. Even the kitchens are buzzing, the air thick with the scent of roasting boar and spiced wine. I am tasked with serving, a rare and terrifying excursion from the shadows of the scullery. Dressed in the plain gray tunic of a servant, I move through the throng in the great hall, my head down, my senses overwhelmed. The room is a symphony of scents, each wolf a unique note: pine, earth, riverstone, wild flowers. I am a blank space in this tapestry, scentless, wolfless, invisible. Then he arrives, Alpha King Lysander Thorn. He is not our pack's alpha, but the ruler of all territories, a king among wolves. A ripple of power precedes him, a palpable force that has every wolf in the hall, including the ones I serve, lowering their heads in submission. The air crackles with it. His scent cuts through everything else, sharp and commanding. It smells of ancient pine forests and the biting frost of the first winter, a scent of untamed power and cold authority. He is taller than I imagined, built with the hard-muscled grace of a predator. His eyes, the color of molten gold, sweep the room with an impatient boredom. I keep my head bowed, my tray of goblets held tight. My only goal is to remain unnoticed, a gray mouse scurrying along the edges of the feast. But the fates are cruel. A boisterous warrior, drunk on festival wine, stumbles back, jostling my arm. The tray tilts. Goblets crash to the stone floor, a discordant clang that shatters the hall's festive hum. Wine, dark as blood, splashes across the flagstones, perilously close to the Alpha King's immaculate black boots. Silence descends. Every eye in the great hall turns to me. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic drum of pure terror. I drop to my knees, fumbling to pick up the silver goblets, my hands shaking so badly I can barely grasp them. My deepest apologies, Alpha King. I whisper, my voice a strangled thread of sound. I dare not look at him. I can feel his presence looming over me, a mountain of cold, dominant power. The air grows thick, heavy with his displeasure. Look at me, he commands. His voice is a low growl, a sound that vibrates through the stone floor and up into my bones. It is not a request. It is an alpha's order, and my body, wolfless as it is, has no choice but to obey. Slowly, trembling, I lift my head. My gaze rises from the polished tips of his boots, up the powerful line of his legs, past the silver-buckled belt, to the hard plane of his chest. Finally, I meet his eyes, and the world ends. It is not a thought. It is a cataclysm. The moment our eyes lock, something inside me, a place that has been cold and silent my entire life, ignites. A shockwave of energy rips through me, hot and electric. The scents of the hall vanish, replaced by an overwhelming flood of pine and frost, so potent it makes me dizzy. It's him. It's only him. A phantom limb I never knew I was missing suddenly aches with a phantom life. A voice, not my own, screams a single, possessive word in the silent abyss of my mind. Mate. His golden eyes widen, the bored indifference burned away by a blaze of pure shock. I see it reflected there, the same cataclysmic recognition. His nostrils flare, and I know he is breathing in my scent. But how? I have no scent. I am a blank. Yet I can feel it now, a dormant fragrance unfurling from the deepest part of my soul for the first time, the delicate perfume of night-blooming jasmine and the clean, silvery light of a full moon. It is a scent he has never encountered, and it is calling to the very core of his beast. For a heartbeat, there is only us. The hall, the shattered goblets, the watching eyes, they all fade into a blur. There is only the invisible, unbreakable tether that has just snapped into place between us. A dizzying, terrifying hope blooms in my chest, so fierce it steals my breath. He is my mate. The Alpha King is my mate. The fates have not forgotten me. They have given me the other half of my soul. But the moment shatters as quickly as it formed. Lysander's face changes. The shock is replaced by a flicker of something else. Disbelief. Then, a cold, calculating hardness. His gaze drops from my eyes, sweeping over my plain servant's tunic, my calloused hands, my wolfless, scentless aura that is now, impossibly, broadcasting my identity to him alone. His jaw clenches. The pine and frost of his scent turns sharp, acrid, with something that smells like revulsion. The hope in my chest withers, turning to ice. I see the war in his eyes. The primal instinct of his wolf, his beast, is roaring. Mate, claim, ours. But the man, the king, is recoiling. An omega, a servant, a defective, wolfless creature, the lowest of the low. His mate, the future queen. It is an impossibility, an insult. His council members are closing in, whispering in his ear. I see their sneering faces, their dismissive glances. They are reminding him of his duty, of his station, of the need for a strong, pure-blooded Luna to stand by his side. Not me. Lysander straightens to his full, imposing height. The warmth that had flared between us is gone, replaced by a wall of glacial ice. He looks not at me, but through me, addressing the entire hall. His voice is devoid of all emotion, each word a perfectly chiseled shard of ice designed to cut. "There has been a mistake," he announces, his tone ringing with absolute authority. "The moon goddess is fallible, it seems." A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. To question the goddess is heresy. He finally lowers his gaze to me, and the contempt in his golden eyes is a physical blow. It strikes me harder than any fist ever could. The fragile, budding connection between us shrivels under the heat of his scorn. "I, Alpha King Lysander Thorn," he proclaims, his voice booming in the stunned silence, "reject this bond. I reject this thing as my mate. She is nothing, a flaw, unworthy of the title of Luna, unworthy of any wolf. I sever the tie, here and now, before all of you." Pain. It is not an emotion, it is a physical entity. A white-hot blade plunges into my chest, right where the bond had sparked to life. It sears and twists, and I scream. It is a raw, animal sound of pure agony that is ripped from my throat. The scent of jasmine and moonlight curdles, turning to ash and decay. The invisible tether between us does not just break, it shatters into a million razor-sharp fragments that embed themselves in my soul. I collapse onto the floor, clutching my chest, the world dissolving into a vortex of pain and darkness. The last thing I see is his face, cold and remote as a distant star, turning away from me without a flicker of remorse. The last thing I hear is the murmur of the crowd, a mixture of pity, scorn, and relief. The last thing I feel is the absolute, crushing finality of his rejection. He has not just refused me, he has annihilated me. I am cast out at dawn. No trial, no discussion. The Alpha King's word is law. My own Alpha, a man I have served my entire life, cannot even meet my eyes as he pronounces my sentence. Exile. I am stripped of my name, my meager belongings, my place within the pack. I am to be driven from the Blackwood territories, never to return, on pain of death. "It is a mercy," he says. "The Alpha King wanted me executed for the shame I had brought upon him." Two grim-faced warriors escort me to the edge of the territory line, a churning river that marks the border of civilization. They don't speak to me. They look at me with a mixture of disgust and fear, as if my wolflessness, my rejection, is a disease that might be contagious. They shove me forward, and I stumble onto the muddy bank of the river. "Go," one of them growls, "and pray the feral beasts of the unclaimed lands find you quickly." Then they are gone, and I am alone. Truly alone for the first time in my life. The constant hum of the pack mind, a background noise I never consciously noticed, is gone. The silence is deafening, terrifying. There is only the rush of the river and the agonizing, persistent throb in my chest. The broken bond is a raw, festering wound. Every breath is fire. Every beat of my heart sends a fresh wave of nausea and pain through me. It is a constant, screaming reminder of what I have lost, of what I am, rejected, worthless, nothing. Days bleed into nights. I wander aimlessly through the dense, unwelcoming forest of the unclaimed lands. Hunger becomes a dull ache, a companion to the sharper pain in my soul. The cold seeps into my bones. Rain soaks my thin tunic, and I shiver uncontrollably, my teeth chattering. I am an Omega, built for hearth and home, not the unforgiving wilderness. I have no fangs, no claws, No heightened senses, no inner beast to guide me. I am just a girl, and I am dying. I collapse at the base of an ancient oak, my body finally giving out. The world swims, the edges of my vision going dark. This is it. This is rock bottom. The forest floor is cold and damp beneath me. The pain in my chest has become a monstrous weight, crushing the very life from me. It would be so easy to close my eyes, to let the darkness take me, to just stop. The thought is a seductive whisper. Let go. End the pain. But as the last of my strength fades, a flicker of something stubborn and defiant ignites in the deepest part of my being. It is not the voice of a wolf, but it is a voice nonetheless. It is quiet, but it is mine. No, I have been called nothing. I have been treated as less than dirt. I have been discarded like trash. But I am still here. I am still breathing. And I will not let him be the end of me. I will not let his arrogance, his pride, be the final word in my story. A new feeling stirs within me, buried deep beneath the pain. It is a cold, hard kernel of rage. It is a promise. I will survive. I will live, if only to spite him. I will claw my way back from this abyss. And one day he will look at me and see not the worthless Omega he threw away, but the queen he was too blind to recognize. With a surge of will I did not know I possessed, I force my eyes open. A strange warmth spreads from my core, pushing back the encroaching cold. It is faint, like the first rays of dawn, but it is there. A dormant power, asleep for a lifetime, stirs in response to my will. It is the first step, the choice to live. The pain is still there, a constant companion, but now it has a purpose. It is the fuel, and I will use it to burn a new path for myself, one step at a time, out of this darkness. 3 years later, the world is a different place, or rather, I am a different person in it. The memory of that night in the Great Hall is not gone. It is a scar etched onto my soul, a reminder of the girl I used to be. The pain of the broken bond remains, a dull, constant ache where a vibrant connection should be. But it no longer owns me. I own it. I did not die in that forest. I was found. On the brink of death, I had been discovered by a familiar face. The old woman from the market square. She was not frail or hungry. She was Morwenna, a guardian of the old ways, a seer of a forgotten lineage, living in a hidden enclave deep within the unclaimed lands. My weekly offering of coins, she explained, had not been charity. It had been a test of character, of compassion, of seeing value where others saw none, a test I had passed. Morwenna brought me to her home, a secluded valley shielded by ancient magic, a sanctuary for those who did not fit within the rigid structures of the packs. And there, she told me the truth of my existence. I was not wolfless. I was a lunar lichen, a descendant of the very first wolves who walked under the moon, a bloodline thought to be extinct. Our beasts are not born with us. They sleep, dormant until awakened by a great trauma or a surge of will. My rejection, my choice to survive, had been the key that turned the lock. Under her tutelage, I began my transformation. The training was brutal. I learned to call my wolf, a magnificent creature of pure silver light, more spirit than flesh, ancient and powerful. I learned to fight not with the brute force of a pack warrior, but with the grace and speed of a phantom. Morwenna taught me to harness the moon's energy, to weave light into shields and draw shadows to conceal myself. The dormant power I felt that day in the forest was now a roaring river inside me, and I was learning to command its currents. I am no longer the timid, stooped Omega from the kitchens. My body is strong, honed by years of training. My eyes, once perpetually downcast, are clear and direct. I carry myself with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing my own worth, a worth that is not granted by an alpha or a pack, but earned through fire and pain. Here, in the Haven, as we call it, I am not an outcast. I am a leader, a protector. The people look to me, their eyes filled with respect, not pity. We have a new leader in the Haven, a man named Kale. He found his way here a year ago, an exile from a distant pack, cast out for questioning his alpha's cruelty. He has a strength that is quiet and steady, a stark contrast to Lysander's explosive dominance. His scent is of warm earth after rain and sun-baked stone, calming and solid. He is kind. He looks at me and sees not a broken thing, but a warrior. He sees the queen I am becoming. There is a gentle affection growing between us. He never pushes, never demands. He brings me rare flowers from the high mountain slopes. We spar together, his powerful form a perfect challenge to my speed. He listens when the ghosts of my past rise up to haunt me in the dead of night. He represents a peace I never thought I could have. A life free from the torment of the bond, a chance to build something new with someone good. My inner beast, my silver lichen, is wary. She does not trust this easy peace. She still feels the phantom pull of the broken tether, the ghost of a king who haunts our every waking moment. He is not Mata, she growls in my mind, a low, constant rumble. But my human heart yearns for the simple solace Kale offers. He is the safe harbor after a lifetime in a storm. My name is Lysander Thorn, and I am a king living in a private hell. 3 years. It has been 3 years since I destroyed my own soul. I sit on a throne of black obsidian, surrounded by the trappings of power, and I have never felt weaker. The moment I uttered those words, I reject this bond. My own beast, the source of my alpha strength, turned on me. He does not speak. He does not offer guidance or strength. He exists as a furious, silent weight in my chest, a constant burning accusation. I rejected her, my mate, the other half of my being. I saw her, a servant girl kneeling in spilled wine, and my pride, my damned, arrogant pride, screamed louder than my soul. A wolfless Omega, the whispers of my counsel, the centuries of tradition demanding a powerful, pure-blooded Luna, the fear of being seen as weak, it all coalesced into a fatal, catastrophic decision. I chose my crown over my mate, and in doing so, I doomed myself. The bond is not gone. A severed bond does not simply vanish, it festers. It is a hollow, aching void inside me that nothing can fill. Sleep offers no escape. My dreams are haunted by a pair of terrified, amber eyes and the phantom scent of jasmine and moonlight. I have tried to move on. My council has paraded a dozen highborn she-wolves before me, beautiful, powerful, perfect candidates for a queen. But when they are near, my beast recoils with violent disgust. Their scents are cloying, wrong. They are not her. There can be no other. My body and soul have chosen, and I, in my foolishness, denied that choice. I am a king without a queen, an alpha without a mate, a wolf without a soul. My pack feels it. The territories are restless. My rule, once absolute, feels fragile. My distraction has made me a less effective leader. I am a hollow man, rattling around in the cage of my own making. And now, a new threat emerges. Reports from the borderlands speak of shadows that move, of villages raided by creatures of nightmare. The Shadow Weavers, an ancient evil my ancestors supposedly vanquished centuries ago, are stirring. They are drawn to something, a beacon of power our seers cannot identify. They are encroaching on my lands, their darkness a mirror of the one growing inside me. I am tormented by the growing conviction that these two events, my rejection of her and the return of this ancient enemy, are somehow connected. I sent her away, into the unclaimed lands, alone, wolfless, a death sentence. The guilt is a poison, slow acting and relentless. Every night I pray to a moon goddess I publicly scorned, praying for a miracle, that she somehow impossibly survived. I would give up my crown, my kingdom, my very life for one more chance to undo the damage I have done. But I know it is a fool's hope. I destroyed her, and in doing so, I destroyed myself. The news comes like a thunderclap. A village on our southern border, Oakhaven, has been attacked, not by bandits, but by the Shadow Weavers. The creatures are faster and stronger than the old tales suggest, moving like liquid darkness, their touch draining the life force from anything it contacts. My warriors are holding them back, but they are taking heavy losses. I must go. It is my duty to protect my people. It is a welcome distraction from the endless, quiet agony of my own thoughts. I arrive at Oakhaven as dusk bleeds across the sky, casting long, menacing shadows. The air is thick with the metallic tang of blood and the unnerving ozone scent of dark magic. The fighting is fierce, a chaotic swirl of gray-furred pack warriors against amorphous, shifting shades. My beast surges, for once not in anger at me, but at the external threat. I shift, my human form melting away into the massive, black-furred wolf that is the vessel of my power. A roar tears from my throat, a sound of pure alpha command, and I plunge into the fray. We are pushing them back, my presence turning the tide, when a new force enters the battle. From the west, from the direction of the unclaimed lands, a different kind of warrior appears. They are silent, moving with a fluid grace that is utterly unnerving. They are cloaked and hooded, but they fight with a deadly precision, wielding blades that shimmer with a faint, silvery light. They do not fight like pack wolves. They fight like ghosts. And at their head is a figure who commands the very air around her. She moves like the eye of a storm, a point of lethal calm in the center of chaos. She wields no sword. Her hands weave patterns in the air, conjuring shields of solid moonlight that repel the weaver's life-draining touch, and lances of pure light that pierce their shadowy forms, causing them to dissolve into dust. Then, a weaver, larger than the others, breaks through my guard, its shadowy tendrils lashing for my throat. Before I can react, a silver blur intercepts it. The figure in the lead. She lands between me and the creature, her back to me. A wave of pure energy, smelling of ozone and moonlight, radiates from her, blasting the weaver back. In that moment, a gust of wind catches the edge of her hood, pulling it back. Long, dark hair, the color of a moonless midnight, cascades down her back. She turns her head slightly, her profile etched against the dying light, and the world stops turning for the second time in my life. The scent hits me first. It is not the faint, delicate fragrance I remember from the Great Hall. It is a tidal wave, night-blooming jasmine and pure, concentrated moonlight, laced with the power of a storm and the cold clarity of a winter star. It is the scent of my mate, not as a timid omega, but as a force of nature. It slams into me, into the hollow place in my chest, and the broken bond screams back to life, a chorus of agony and desperate, impossible yearning. My beast howls in my mind, a sound of pure, unadulterated joy and pain. Mate, she lives. Ours. She is alive. Ilara. She turns fully, her amber eyes no longer terrified but blazing with a cold, controlled fire locking onto my wolf form. There is no shock in her gaze, no fear, only a flicker of recognition, and then a look of such profound, glacial indifference it freezes the blood in my veins. She looks at me, at the Alpha King, at her fated mate, as if I am nothing more than a mild inconvenience, a piece of furniture in the room. The battle rages on, but I am frozen. My great black wolf stands motionless, staring at the woman I threw away. She is not just alive, she is powerful, more powerful than any wolf I have ever seen. The wolfless Omega I scorned is now a warrior queen, commanding forces I do not understand, radiating an authority that rivals my own. The battle ends. The remaining Shadow Weavers melt back into the forest as true night falls. Her warriors, the silent ghosts, form a protective circle around her. My own warriors stare, bewildered at these newcomers and the woman who seems to lead them. I force the shift, my wolf form receding until I stand before her as a man. My heart is a frantic hammer against my ribs. My mind is a chaotic mess of disbelief, relief, and a terror so profound it steals my breath. Alara, I breathe. Her name is a prayer on my lips. She meets my gaze, and her expression does not change. The coldness in her eyes is a physical barrier. Alpha King, she says. Her voice is smooth and cool as polished river stone. There is no warmth, no anger, no pain, just a flat, empty courtesy that is more cutting than any curse. How? I stammer, my mind struggling to comprehend. You, I thought you were dead? She finishes for me, a slight humorless tilt to her lips. Your warriors were quite clear on that being the desired outcome. As you can see, I am inconveniently resilient. Her words are like shards of glass in my gut. Every ounce of my alpha authority, the power that makes entire packs bow, means nothing to her. It washes over her like water over a stone, leaving her unmoved. I try to reach for the bond, the connection that is now screaming between us, to project my remorse, my desperation, my overwhelming joy that she is alive. But I hit a wall, a shield of pure, unyielding will. She has locked me out. The bond is a one-way street. I can feel everything from her power, her cold control, her deep, resonant calm. But she feels nothing from me but a distant, irritating hum. I need to speak with you, I say, my voice tight. I see no reason for that, she replies, turning away as if to leave. A man steps to her side, placing a gentle hand on her arm. He is tall and broad-shouldered, his scent of earth and rain a calming presence next to her storm. He looks at me, then at her, his expression protective. Ilara, he says softly. Perhaps we should hear him out. This enemy threatens us all. She hesitates, her gaze flickering to the man, Kale. A flicker of warmth enters her eyes as she looks at him, a warmth she has pointedly denied me. A savage, primal jealousy rips through me, so intense it makes me want to growl, to tear him away from her. Mine, my beast, rages. She is ours. But I clamp down on the instinct. I have no right. I forfeited all rights 3 years ago. She gives a slight, reluctant nod. Very well. We will speak. Not for your sake, Alpha King, she adds, her cold eyes pinning me in place. But for the sake of my people, who are now threatened by this darkness, we will meet at the standing stones at sunrise. Do not be late. With that, she turns and walks away, her silent warriors melting into the trees behind her. I am left standing in the ruins of Oakhaven, the scent of her power lingering in the air, the echo of her cold voice ringing in my ears. She is alive, and she hates me. The small, desperate hope that had flared in my chest turns to ash. This is not a second chance. This is my judgment, and my judge is the woman whose soul I tried to crush. The sun rises, casting the ancient standing stones in hues of gray and rose. I am there, waiting. I did not sleep. How could I? Her scent is imprinted on my senses. Her cold eyes burned into my mind. The alliance she spoke of is a necessity. The Shadow Weavers are a threat unlike any we have faced. Their numbers are growing, and their attacks are becoming more brazen. My scouts report that they seem to be gathering, drawn towards the heart of the unclaimed lands, towards her, towards the haven. She arrives with the first rays of light, Kale at her side. She is dressed not in armor, but in simple, dark leathers that do not hide the warrior's strength in her frame. She moves with a predatory grace that makes my heart ache. This is the woman she was always meant to be. This is the queen I was too blind to see. The Shadow Weavers are drawn to a source of great power, she begins, wasting no time on pleasantries. My power. They are servants of an ancient entity, Malachor, who consumes magic to sustain himself. My awakening has acted as a dinner bell? Then you are in danger, I say, my voice rough with a concern I can no longer hide. You must let me protect you. Bring your people into my territory. I can shield you. A bitter, humorless laugh escapes her lips. You want to protect me? The same way you protected me 3 years ago? By casting me out to die. Her words are quiet, but they strike with the force of a physical blow. I do not need your protection, Alpha King. My people and I have survived just fine without it. What I need is your army. This is a war, and it will be fought on our lands. We need an alliance. Anything, I say, my voice raw with desperation. Whatever you ask. We will fight together, she says, her tone all business. My warriors know how to kill them. Your warriors have the numbers and the strength to hold the line. We will combine our knowledge, our resources. But let me be clear. This is a military alliance, nothing more. You and I, we are generals on a battlefield. That is all we will ever be. The finality in her voice is like a door slamming shut in my face. The man, Kyle, watches me, his expression unreadable. He sees the agony on my face. I am sure of it. He sees the way my eyes follow her every move, the way the air crackles with the tormented energy of our broken bond. We spend the next few weeks in a state of forced proximity. I bring my command unit to the edge of the haven, setting up a war camp. We meet daily in a makeshift tent, maps spread across a rough-hewn table, planning our strategy. The tension is unbearable. I am so close to her, I can breathe her scent. The intoxicating perfume of jasmine and moonlight that drives my wolf mad. But she is 1,000 miles away. She is professional, efficient, and colder than the winter winds in my own lands. She addresses me only as Alpha King. She never meets my eyes unless absolutely necessary. She defers to Kale's opinion, shares quiet, knowing glances with him, allows his hand to rest on her arm. Each small intimacy between them is a fresh twist of the knife in my gut. I cannot bear it any longer. One evening, after a particularly grueling strategy session, I wait until Kyle has left the tent. She is alone, studying the maps, her brow furrowed in concentration. The lamplight catches the silver streaks in her dark hair, a mark of her lunar power. She is beautiful, so beautiful it hurts to look at her. Ilara, I say softly. She stiffens, but does not look up. Our meeting is concluded, Alpha King. Please, I beg, taking a hesitant step closer. Don't, don't do this. I know. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I cannot go on like this. She finally looks up, and for the first time I see a crack in her icy facade. I see the raw pain she keeps so carefully buried. Her eyes are shimmering with unshed tears, and her voice, when she speaks, is thick with a grief that mirrors my own. What do you want me to say, Lysander? She whispers, using my name for the first time. It sounds like a curse. That it's all right? That I forgive you? Do you have any idea what you did to me? The pain. It was constant. It was a fire in my soul that never went out. I had to learn to live with it, to build my life on top of its ashes. And now you're here, and it's all roaring back to life. Every time I look at you, I remember that girl on the floor, begging for a scrap of mercy from a king who had none to give. The dam of my own control breaks. The words pour out of me, a torrent of guilt and regret that has been building for 3 years. I know, goddess, I know. There isn't a moment, not one single moment in the last 3 years that I have not regretted it. I was a fool, an arrogant, prideful coward. I was afraid of what my council would say, afraid of looking weak, afraid of a bond I didn't understand. I chose my title over my soul, and I have been paying for it ever since. I take another step, my hands clenched at my sides. My wolf has been silent for 3 years, Ilara. He punishes me every day for what I did to you, to us. There is an emptiness inside me that nothing can fill. I threw away the most precious gift the goddess could ever offer, and the knowledge of that loss is a torment beyond any physical pain. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I know I haven't earned it. I will probably never earn it. I am just asking you to know that I see it. I see the man I was, and I hate him. I am so sorry for the pain I caused you. I would do anything, give anything, to take it back. Tears are tracking silently down her face now. She doesn't wipe them away. She just stands there, letting them fall, her carefully constructed walls crumbling around her. I have a desperate urge to reach out, to wipe them away, to hold her, but I don't dare. I have no right to touch her, no right to offer comfort. All I can do is stand here, my own heart shattering, and bear witness to the pain I created. Kyle appears in the tent flap, his gaze taking in the scene. He looks at Ilara's tears, at my desperate, broken expression. He says nothing for a long moment, his eyes full of a sad understanding. Ilara, he says gently, his voice pulling her from the raw moment between us. She turns to him, and he walks to her side. He doesn't touch her, but his presence is a comfort. He looks from her to me, and a look of resignation settles on his face. I have seen the way you look at him, he says to her, his voice soft but firm. And I have seen the way he looks at you. I have seen the storm that rages between you. I hoped I could be the harbor for you, the peace you deserved. But I am not your destiny, Ilara. He is. She shakes her head, a fresh wave of tears falling. Kyle, no. I cannot compete with a fated bond, he says, a sad smile touching his lips, even a broken one. And I will not be your second choice. You deserve to be someone's everything. My heart will heal, but yours can only be made whole by the one who broke it. He looks at me, his eyes hard. Do not fail her again. You will not get a third chance. He turns and gently cups her face, pressing a soft, chaste kiss to her forehead. Be happy, my queen, he whispers. Then he turns and walks out of the tent and out of her life, with a dignity that makes me feel even smaller. Ilara and I are left in the sudden, ringing silence. The air is thick with unspoken words, with 3 years of pain and a fragile, terrifying glimmer of something that might one day be hope. She looks at me, her eyes raw and vulnerable, and for the first time since her return, she doesn't look away. The war with the shadows is at our doorstep, but the true battle, the one for her heart, has only just begun. The final battle comes without warning. Malachor does not wait for us to bring the fight to him. Under the cover of a new moon, when Ilara's power is at its lowest ebb, he attacks the haven itself. A tidal wave of shadow weavers, larger and more monstrous than any we have faced, pours into the hidden valley. At their head is Malachor himself, a towering figure of coalesced darkness, his form vaguely humanoid, but his presence a vortex of absolute cold and soul-crushing dread. The war camp explodes into action. My warriors roar, shifting into their wolf forms, a wave of gray and brown fur crashing against the tide of black shadows. Ilara's ghost-like warriors move among them, their silver blades flashing. But we are outnumbered, overwhelmed. Malachor's target is clear. He ignores my wolves, ignores the haven's defenders, his empty gaze fixed entirely on Ilara. The lunar lichen, his voice echoes, not through the air, but directly in our minds. It is a dry, rasping sound, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. You have awakened. Your power sings to me. I will feast upon your light and be sustained for another millennium. Ilara stands before him, her silver lichen a shimmering aura around her. She is breathtakingly brave, but I can feel her fear. The new moon weakens her, and Malachor is an ancient, terrible power. The bond between us, raw and exposed since our confrontation, is now a conduit for her emotions. I feel her terror, her grim determination, her exhaustion. The time for words is over. The time for apologies is past. The only thing that matters now is action. The only way to prove I have changed is to show her. As Malachor lunges for her, a spear of pure darkness aimed at her heart, I move. My beast and I are one, driven by a single, primal purpose. Protect, mate, ours. I throw myself in front of her, my body a shield. I am not fast enough to stop the spear, only to intercept it. Agony, cold and absolute, rips through me. It is not a physical pain, but a spiritual one. The dark magic sinks into my soul, and I feel my life force, my very essence being siphoned away. My alpha strength, the core of my being, is draining out of me like sand from an hourglass. I roar, a sound of both defiance and excruciating pain, as I fall to my knees. Lysander! Ilara's scream is my name, torn from her throat in a cry of pure anguish. I look up at her, my vision blurring. The world is going gray. I told you, I gasp, my voice a wet, ragged sound. I would do anything. Malachor laughs, the sound a grating horror in my mind. A foolish gesture. The Alpha King sacrifices himself for a broken Omega. Now I will take you both. But something is happening. Ilara's scream, her fear for me, has acted as a catalyst. The broken bond between us, which has been a source of agony for so long, flares with an impossible light. Her terror and my sacrifice have become the final ingredients needed to mend what was shattered. A bridge of pure golden energy snaps into place between us, flooding the hollow void in my chest. I feel her power, the pure, clean light of the moon, pouring into me, fighting back the encroaching darkness of Malakor's magic. The pain recedes, replaced by a strength I have never known. It is not just my alpha power. It is hers, too. Pine and frost entwined with jasmine and moonlight. We are connected. We are whole. But it is not enough. Malachor is too strong. We are holding him at bay, but we cannot defeat him. In that moment, I know what I have to do. It is the final piece of my redemption, the ultimate act of submission, the grovel my soul has been begging to make. With the last of my strength, I push myself up. I ignore Malachor. I ignore the battle raging around us. I turn to Alara, my queen, my mate, my soul. And in front of my warriors, in front of her people, in front of the ancient evil that seeks to destroy us, I drop to one knee. I lower my head and bare my throat, the ultimate gesture of submission from one wolf to another, from an alpha to his Luna. Ilara, I say, my voice clear and strong, ringing across the battlefield with all my alpha power, but laced with a humility I have never before known. I was wrong. I was a fool, blinded by pride and fear. You were never nothing. You were and are everything. My mate, my queen, the other half of my soul. I lift my eyes to hers. They are wide, shining with tears, filled with the dawning, wondrous light. I reverse my rejection, I proclaim, my voice shaking with the force of my conviction. Here, before the goddess and all who bear witness, I unsever the tie. I claim you if you will have me. I offer you my life, my love, my pack, my crown. Everything I am and everything I have is yours. But your choice is your own. I am not your king. I am your subject. If you walk away now, I will not stop you. I will spend the rest of my life protecting your freedom. But if you will have me, if you can find it in your heart to forgive the fool I was, then please choose me. Make us whole. Silence. The entire battlefield holds its breath. My heart pounds, waiting for her verdict. This is it, the culmination of 3 years of suffering. The choice is hers, and hers alone, made from a position of absolute power. A single tear traces a path through the grime on her cheek. A slow, beautiful smile spreads across her face. A smile of such radiant joy it outshines the moon. There was never another choice, you stupid wolf, she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. She steps forward and kneels before me, mirroring my position. She leans in and her lips brush against my ear. Mine, her inner beast purrs, the sound vibrating through the newly forged bond directly into my soul. Section. Then she rises. She is no longer just Ilara, the warrior. She is a queen, accepting her throne. I choose you, Lysander Thorn, she declares, her voice ringing with the power that makes the very ground tremble. I choose us. She offers me her hand. I take it, and as our skin touches, the bond completes itself. A supernova of light and power erupts from us, a blinding fusion of sun and moon, of alpha strength and lunar magic. The energy is a physical wave that blasts outward, sending shadow weavers reeling. I feel her power flowing into me, and my power flowing into her, until we are not two separate beings, but one entity, perfectly balanced, infinitely strong. The wound in my soul is gone, replaced by a radiant warmth. I am whole. Malachor shrieks, shielding his form from our light. Impossible! This power! Alara looks at me, her amber eyes blazing with shared power. There is no need for words. We know what to do. We move as one, a whirlwind of fang, claw, and pure light. I am the physical force. My wolf form larger and more powerful than ever before, tearing through the ranks of weavers. She is the magical heart, her lances of moonlight incinerating them, her shields protecting our warriors. We are a perfectly synchronized dance of death and light. Together, we face Malachor. He is ancient and terrible, but he is a creature of solitude and consumption. We are a union, a bond, a power built on sacrifice, forgiveness, and love. Our combined strength is something he cannot comprehend and something he cannot withstand. I pin him with my body, my fangs sinking into his shadowy form. Alara places her hands on my back, and through me, she channels all her power, a concentrated beam of pure, incandescent moonlight. It pours into Malachor's core, a light so pure it cannot coexist with his darkness. He screams, a sound that tears at the fabric of reality, and then he dissolves, not into dust, but into nothingness, his ancient evil utterly and completely unmade. As he vanishes, the remaining Shadow Weavers disintegrate, their power source gone. The battle is over. Silence falls over the valley, broken only by the panting of weary warriors and the soft weeping of relief. I shift back, my body aching but my soul singing. Alara collapses into my arms, her strength spent. I hold her tight, burying my face in her hair, breathing in the scent of jasmine and moonlight, the scent of home. "It's over," I whisper. "It's just beginning," she murmurs against my chest. In the weeks that follow, we begin to build our new world. There is no longer a Blackwood pack and a hidden haven. There is one people, united under an Alpha King and a Lunar Queen. My throne is no longer a solitary seat of power. A second, carved of pale moonwood and inlaid with silver, is placed beside it. We rule together, my strength tempered by her wisdom, her power grounded by my authority. We are equals, in every sense of the word, a new dynamic, forged in fire and forgiveness. The public ceremony is her idea. It is not a wedding, not in the human sense. It is a completion. We stand before our united people, and I perform the ritual I should have performed 3 years ago. I bare my neck, and with a love that shines in her eyes, she sinks her fangs into the juncture of my neck and shoulder, marking me as hers. The brief, sharp pain is nothing compared to the ecstatic flood of warmth and rightness that fills me. Then she offers her own neck to me. I hesitate, my gaze falling on the faint, silvery scar that my rejection left on her soul, a permanent reminder of my failure. She sees where I am looking. She lifts a hand and gently touches the spot. "Scars are not a sign of weakness, Lysander," she says softly, her voice for me alone. "They are a sign that we survived what was meant to destroy us. They are a part of our story." My heart swells with a love so powerful, it feels as though it might burst from my chest. I lean in and gently, reverently, I bite down, my fangs sinking into her soft skin, right beside the old scar. I am not erasing the past. I am marking our future. The bond settles, a deep, calm, and unbreakable certainty in the core of our beings. We are one, earned, scarred, but finally, irrevocably, whole. Months later, we stand on the high balcony of the Great Hall, the same hall where I once shattered her world. The night is clear, and a full moon hangs in the sky, bathing the valley in its silvery glow. The sounds of a peaceful, thriving kingdom drift up from below. Ilara leans against me, her head resting on my shoulder. My arm is wrapped securely around her waist. I find myself touching the bite mark on her neck, my thumb tracing its perfect shape. She mirrors the gesture, her fingers finding the matching mark on my own neck. We don't speak. We don't need to. Our thoughts, our feelings, our deep, abiding love flows between us through the completed bond. I never thought I could feel this, she says, her voice a soft murmur. Peace. I didn't deserve it, I reply, my voice thick. But I will spend every day of the rest of my life trying to be the man who does. She turns in my arms, her amber eyes glowing with a love that still steals my breath. You already are, Lysander. You already are. She rises on her toes and kisses me, a slow, deep kiss filled with the promise of 1,000 tomorrows. The scent of pine and frost, once so cold and remote, is now warmed by her jasmine and moonlight. It is the scent of forgiveness, the scent of redemption, the scent of a love that was broken, lost, and fought for, the scent of home. And as I hold my queen, my mate, my soul, under the light of the moon that is her birthright, I know that the long, painful journey through the darkness was worth it, for it led me back to her.